Welcome to the Footy Museum and the Footy Museum podcast. I am Justin Whitty, co-director of the Footy Museum, and I am joined, as always, by fellow co-director Maria Van Dyken Lee. Maria, how are you this afternoon?
I'm doing really well, Justin. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well as well. Today was the last day of the English football and much of Europe's footballing season.
The regular season, yes.
The regular season.
Yes.
Not the Champions League or the little known Super Champions Ultimate League, which is played in a basement in Saudi Arabia with only 2 people get to watch.
Mm-hmm. And they pay $2 billion each game.
Yes. And it's just clones of Messi playing genetically altered super intelligent buffalo.
Mm-hmm. Great games.
It's great games.
I've been twice.
Yeah.
As a guest.
You guys do like to splurge. You do like to splurge. I'll give you that. But I did, as I did allude to, as exciting as it was, all things fell to form. And for the 4th consecutive, first time ever.
It was inevitable.
It was inevitable. So congratulations to Manchester City. I brought back a classic, one of my favorite all-time slides.
Yeah, this is a great slide.
Of Leeds United, because they have progressed to the promotion playoff final. Who will they play? When is it happening? What is your prediction?
They are playing Southampton next week, Sunday at 9 a.m. Flights to London are about $700. I don't know how much the tickets cost for the match, but
you gonna do it?
Quick weekend away. I don't know if I can swing that particular one.
Patrick Bamford is one of our top listeners, so if you want to help Maria out, just send the money and you just
Venmo me so I can just head to London for a quick weekend away. And just no regard for the planet and emissions at all.
I think they are going to add these peacock feathers to their kits if they make it to the Premier League next year.
I was thinking about this.
And they also operate as gliders suits, so they could just jump and
fly over long ball. Offsides, what? How do you judge that when you're flying through the air?
I have no... You can't judge a bird soaring as offsides. Is it offsides up? Is it offsides?
According to who?
According to what rules? We do not follow the rules of the terrestrial plane. Yes. What were you saying?
I don't remember.
Oh, that's so great. Congratulations. I look forward to them hopefully making it back.
They recently played Southampton and lost, and so hopefully but they've been winning. I mean, they won their semifinal. They played really well. Wasn't even close.
All right. And as mentioned, I asked to make a sad picture of the Chicago soccer team. They played the Columbus Crew this past weekend, and they lost again. And again, I just want to give a shout out to everyone who works for the Fire organization on the game day experience. They're doing everything they can. And I just felt like if the Fire would win, things could really click, because everything else, they're really trying. And they do so. It's a pretty good game day experience.
Yeah.
But just the team is bad. So bad.
Everything leading up, you get there, you
start
have
to believe,
fun,
yeah.
you sit down.
You play foosball?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You kick some butt.
Maria is pretty good at foosball, by the way.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, I don't even think Jeremy knew. You kind of took him, you annihilated him.
My apologies to my husband. But it is known that
he did look shocked.
I am dysfunctionally competitive. It's known. I am not fun to play games with, because I don't care if you're a child. I don't care if you're elderly. I don't care if it's your first time playing. I'm playing to win.
That's right. Well, when you did, unlike the Fire, I just don't know where they go from here. I don't even know what to say. But there they are.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on.
Well, they scored a goal.
They did score a goal.
Yeah, they scored a goal.
We're not here to talk about the Fire, though. We are here to talk about, next week we're going to do a review of the seasons, especially because hopefully Leeds will have played their game. We'll have everything wrapped up. We can talk about the season, some of the top tifos, visuals of the season, all going to be next week. So this week, we decided to look back at some questionable Crest rebrand redesigns from history.
Yes.
This was inspired from the Europa League and the wonderful story of Atalanta. Because when you look at their crest history, they have this fantastic crest from the 1970s through the mid 80s. You see it here through 84. And I heard, someone described it as disco stew.
Oh, that's a great way to describe
But
this.
it's kind of a weird morphish like fish person. Now, I don't know if this is just a bad vector
No.
rescaling of
who knows?
the original.
I think the great thing about this, go back to all of them. It's like they took the time to redraw their crest, but just draw it worse. You know?
Yes.
Like, why would they even do that? Their crest before this was beautiful.
It was. I don't know what the one with the outline, and obviously the club is named after the Greek huntress Atalanta. Is that also what Atlanta is named after?
There's no way of knowing.
No, there's no way to know.
There's no way of knowing.
Things like that just get lost, and there's no.
They're lost to history.
And if you did find out, it would take months of research
We'd have
at
to-
one of those libraries on top of a mountain, like in Lord of the Rings. You'd have to get scrolls out, so you just don't know. So you just forget about it.
You have to learn how to read. And that's just a lot of trouble.
The first batch had the classic black and white stripes, kind of oddly shaped, I would say. And then the next one, it was pretty good. It had the huntress Atalanta in it.
There's so much movement.
It's so much movement. It's like a nice. That one almost to me looks like a '70s marathon.
Look at that calf
silhouette.
definition. It's great.
Oh, just so good. And then they moved to this one, which seemed like not only or to the '70s '84 one. Not only is the font kind of funny, but that crest is really, really goofy.
And why did
Now it
they-
showcases her silhouette in motion.
Why'd they give her a perm?
I don't know. Well, because it was the '70s. So showing, this is supposed to show, well, it definitely went from like, I'm running a marathon to like, I am doing the electric slide. I went and looked at now my standards, looking for some bad rebrands from history. I wanted to venture away from kind of more familiar leagues, maybe introduce us to some new teams, and have a range of bad, like ones that have gone from classic to horrible or just nonsensical.
Yeah. Or like avoid all personality in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to start here in the J1 League in Japan with Nagoya Grampus, now known as Nagoya Grampus, previously Nagoya Grampus 8. And Nagoya Grampus was founded in 1939, so it's actually an old club. They are one of the oldest clubs in the top tier of Japanese football. They were a founding member of the J League, which was established in 1993. And they are probably best known because they were once managed by Arsene Wenger before he went to Arsenal.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is kind of a well-known team. And then this redesign, which I believe, let me double check the year of it. This happened in 2008. Okay. So what you see on the left is their previous. Not great, but some personality. So you have a crest with kind of a peak top with a crown on top. And then I'm a fan of fancy serifs when it comes to soccer crests.
Yeah.
And Nagoya Grampus had some fancy serifs here. The G not only is serif, but has some sort of odd growth. E has the downward hook on the left side. They're overlapping in a fun way. And then there is a classic banner underneath with the title. And then what I believe is is
that an orca?
An orca with arms and a crown in a fist-fighting
Is it
position.
going like this?
He's like, come on, I don't want to, I'm not a killer whale, I'm a boxing whale. Let's go.
I love aquatic mammals playing soccer. It's one of my favorite
How about
crest
fist fighting?
tropes.
Come over
That too.
here.
Any sport.
I think actually that crest inspired the SeaWorld orcas to rise up, thus ending the very popular Orca SeaWorld show. So Nagoya. That's where the Grampus comes in. So 2008, they switched to what was described as a more streamlined. This looks like something out of the Saudi League to me, honestly.
Yeah. I'd say probably better designed overall, but you're right. Like it's kind of...
it's weird. So very simplified crest now with a peaked top and pointed bottom, unusual. And it looks to me like the orca has kind of merged with almost like a flame in the center. One of those kind of designs that's not quite balanced, not a fan. And then just in gold letters, top and bottom, Nagoya Grumpus. This was not a popular change. So it went from like weird, quirky, not great, to like weird, quirky, bad.
Yeah, like they simplified it, but it's still like too complicated somehow.
Yeah, that flame thing. It looks like a middle schooler. Like, I want to get a tattoo. This is what it's going to look like.
It's too many ideas.
Vibes. Too many ideas.
Yeah.
So that's one.
And then there's like an N in there. Yeah, there's an NG and an E in that flame.
It does. Oh, that's right.
So that's like another idea.
Yeah, there's too much going on.
That's another. They already wrote Nagoya Grampus on there. Why?
I didn't even catch that. Good call.
The E is hard to spot.
Don't apologize. Don't try to make me feel better.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying that he is like hard to spot.
So you're better at this. That's fine. Just own it.
Because
just say what you want to say.
I did learn how to read, and I will find the answer to that Atlanta question someday. I put in the work.
I do want to congratulate you on your newfound literacy.
It took all summer.
I mean, it's really, we don't acknowledge enough those who finally learn to read. Okay, so next. So that's first. Next, we go back to the Americas. And for this time, we are looking for this time. Here, we are looking at Sao Paulo FC. And although they did their most recent redesign in 2019, what I want to talk about is actually the change that they did between 1930 and I imagine 1931. So in 1919 to 1930, on the left here, you see, talk about
cool.
fancy serifs and all sorts of things. So the one thing to point out is the order of the title kind of changed. So it was Club Atlético Paulistano. Okay, so what you're seeing is CAP. Okay, so that's why it's like, why does it not look like? And it has the great early 20th century, really ornate, intertwined. Now, this is an example, unlike the previous one where it was overly ornate letters, flame in the middle that were confusing. I really enjoy this because it's just playing with that overlapping, the quirky line, and then it's just a solid circle. So when I see a crest like this, I think of a lot of history.
Yeah.
It's really fun to look at, but it's still graphic and bold and has a distinct identity as an older club.
Yeah. And it's still so legible. You can see the distinct shapes of the letters. It doesn't just morph into one blob. It's like, you see it's a C and A and a P.
And then in 1930, riding on the international wave of fascist design, they went, first of all, changed the name. So now it is now Sao Paulo Football Club. And it is in a baseball diamond type shape. At the top, there is a black horizontal rectangle with white SPFC. Underneath it, a red triangle on the left side of the diamond, a black on the right. So it kind of forms a T in the negative space. This looks like a poorly conceptualized, like villain design for a movie. What also bugs me is the outline, the black outline making the whole shape seems too thin.
Definitely.
So not interesting design, cold and kind of scary and like an efficient and dumb fascist kind of way.
Efficient and dumb.
I mean, that's what this is, like an efficient and dumb crest. And then what really bugs me is that that's pretty much what they have stuck with. So you look, there's small changes to the font, to the thickness of the line around the edges. In 2010, as an anniversary, which is weird because, that would be 110 years anniversary. Maybe it wasn't an anniversary. I don't know. They added that crest within a circle and then another shape, but then returned in 2008 back to the baseball diamond and with all sorts of all sorts of stars.
Is that an omega shape?
Oh, it is an omega shape.
I can also read Greek.
So if you look at the club's first 3 crests, they're really great. Actually, the 1902 one, which is for the whole sporting club, because that's why it has the tennis rackets on it and the soccer ball. That one is dynamite too.
Oh, I love it. I love those types of crests where it's just like a sash across. Yeah, those, they just feel so in the spirit of like sport, you know? Like there's a little bit of ceremony to it. Like here's our sash. But yeah, the fascist one it doesn't say anything about like the club, you know? Like there's no
personality. I think it was bad. And I think if they had the internet back then, people would be outraged, especially since this is one of the top clubs in the country. So that was my second one.
Boo.
And now this one is a little more nuanced in the change.
I feel it.
So this is Universidad de Chile. They are often referred to as La U, which is often how I refer to Maria often. How are La U, Maria? They're one of Chile's most successful clubs. They have numerous Primera Division titles, and they have a passionate fan base. And their logo here, you can tell, has always incorporated kind of an owl, which I love.
An owl.
I love an owl. And look, you can see on the top of this page art, we love a bird and a crest. And so again, the initials for the club is changed, right? So you have CND, then Club Universidad, probably Deportivo, I don't know, and then DUCH. Almost Dutch. Interesting.
Almost douche.
Almost douche. And then U for Universidad. Or La U, as it is, as one would say.
Yes.
And I'm again highlighting. I don't like it sins 95 according to this graphic, but I don't like that for a number of reasons. But again, I'm looking at from 41 to 42. It is kind of a overall interesting crest, the way the owl's head is peeking up from kind of a heart-shaped crest.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the detail comes down to the treatment of the owl's features, which here is depicted just by kind of negative space shapes with circular eyes and a suggestion of, it's like kind of like with the feathering coloring. So you don't see the beak, anything, but it's very distinctly an owl because of the outline of the ears and the shape. And in 41, there was enough kind of variation and just enough detail in the owl head, but then also has this really weird shaped font in the DUCH and a double outliner on the crest, where I feel like there was just enough detail to get away with this simple one. And then in 42, they go to kind of an American university U.
Yeah, very varsity.
Very varsity, hard edge, hard edge curves, no curved lines, just straight U. And they simplify the owl. And that really continues through the next 4 iterations, where you get to the current day, where the owl head is less detailed, more stretched out, not as clearly an owl. It has grown in proportion to the U.
Huge.
And the U is still kind of this boring.
Yeah.
So this one is a subtle, but I think it's like they're trying to hold on to what they had, but they've lost it enough now where it doesn't work.
You know what I feel?
What do you feel?
What I feel is like the first 2 versions of this owl.
So 1926 to 30 and 30 to 35.
If you look at the shield shape, was kind of like the body. And like its shouldery wings.
Yes.
And you feel like its wings are in the right shape to be wings. And then moving into the 35, the Dutch one, and then the Varsity U one, they change the shape so it's sloping. And it almost feels it's anthropomorphizing this owl now. It's almost got the body of like a human.
Okay.
And I don't like that as much. I like
that line underneath almost looks like a shirt collar.
Yeah. Like it's wearing it looks like it's wearing kind of like a uniform. And I feel like I am more drawn to the like shape, the shield shape, or like the body shape on the older 2 versions. So yeah, I feel that too.
But overall, kind of interesting crest. And those first 3 ones also look like superhero logos to me.
Yeah,
in a
they
way.
do.
Yeah.
Like Superman.
So some different clubs we haven't talked about before, but some takes on those.
Yeah. These
And
are fun.
you brought some as well.
Yeah, I did.
Oh.
Okay, so this is Lincoln's City. They're known as the Imps, and this is like the older version. And this is one of those examples where it's a really weird nickname and a really kind of weird design history. And it's like it's so weird that.
By weird, do you mean unusual or idiosyncratic? Or...
Yeah. Like people love it.
Yeah.
Like it's so unique to the place. Like this.
Do you know where the imp?
Yes.
Okay.
The imp comes from a sculpture in a local church. The folktale, there's like a few different versions, but it's essentially just there's this little impish devil who's in the church kind of looking down with envy or something like that, and like little variations on that. And he's this little character that's local to the town. And these are 2 versions that the fan base really loved. And like 77% of the people want to go back to this. And these are kind of like also the heyday of the club.
Okay.
It's a League One team.
Okay.
Founded in 1884, by the way, like very old. And then in 2014, they made an update. It's
somebody got Illustrator.
Somebody got Illustrator and made a vector image based on the photo of the imp from the church. And this has lasted the last 10 years.
The minute that's popped up my screen, I got audio with it in my head, like, hey.
It's so weird. Like, it's too, like, its bottom teeth are just like,
image trace. Do you like the out? Yeah, it's fine.
It's just an image trace of the photo. Here's a side. I thought, like, the original time I saw the old imp, I was like, oh, that's a weird drawing. And then I saw the new imp and I was like, that's a worse drawing.
I don't hate it though.
It's so,
I don't hate it.
It's so
really
kooky.
weird.
It's so weird. I would kind of, if it was like based on an earlier version of some wacky drawing from this statue from like 100 years ago, I'd be like, it's perfect. Don't touch it. But since it was just made in Illustrator, I'm like, oh. So it's so funny to me.
I feel like if they ever made it up to the championship and they could raise the funds to get an actual designer, there's a lot of fun things you could do with the imps.
There is a lot. And I love that it's so local and it's so strange. It's there's got to be some sort of in between that they, and in the sculpture it's like sitting like that with its one leg down and cross leg, and it's kind of strange, just isolated. But it's like if you it's so funny, and it's
great.
Such a weird little hairy guy.
It is.
Okay, so my next one is a club, Andorra from Spain, and they're a second-tier Spanish football club, and they had been using their just town, like a version of the town or regional crest since.
There's like a Pope hat,
started the club,
2 goats.
Yeah, just based on the region, surrounding regions. Like this is the whole deal. And then in 2022, they were like, let's modernize.
No. I like that.
Hold on, though. Hold on.
Okay.
Does it remind you of anything?
I see mountains.
Yeah, well, it's based on mountains, but does it remind you of anything else? Something like a discount grocery store?
Oh my God.
It's just the Aldi logo. It's just Aldi.
It's Aldi's awake.
And
oh my God.
and once you think of it, you can't unsee it. And there's Aldi all over Spain.
Oh no.
Yeah, so.
Well, that's too bad because I actually like it. I do like it.
It's interesting. It's an interesting rebrand, but and they couldn't shy away from these colors because they're known as the tricolors, and these are their colors. Is the Aldi orange, red, and blue. But then they did the interlocking A thing, and it's just too similar for me.
That's wild.
It's just...
Okay. Good one.
Poor Andorra. Okay, and then my last one. This one, I didn't. Oh, here, side by side.
Oh,
So my last one, Lorient from France,
Okay.
French League One.
McDonald's.
Sorry, McDonald's
League
Ligue 1.
One. Ligue 1 Happy Meal.
They have this. This is what they had for most of their history until
Okay.
'94. And I think it's kind of fun, especially when you consider that it one.
So they are some type of fish.
Yeah. So they, so they spent like a lot of time as an amateur side, and I like this kind of simple like screen printy, like two color logo, considering that history. And then also it looks like a road crossing sign for fish.
It does.
And I imagine
Like those Chinese walking fish.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I imagine how you'd feel as a fan to have kind of this cool like FLC with a fish in the middle, and it looks like a powerful fish with some kind of weird thing coming off of it. But you're like, yes, this is us. And then they do the big update in '94. It's going to be a new fish.
You win. It's the worst I've ever seen.
It's just like a weird drawing of a fish with really weird eyes.
It's like off center.
It's off center, and it's like next to a 56 that's like really poorly balanced, and you're like, what is happening? The fish is hitting a soccer ball,
Two different fonts apparently, but maybe
and
the
it's
scale.
also kind of crushed like within itself. But the most important question is, how are the fish going to cross safely now that there's no fish crossing sign?
Oh my gosh.
This whole the there's no good version of this either.
No.
Like, this is the full history. They never nailed it.
No. So the one on the far bottom right is their current.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really trying there, and it's just
It's not working either.
and a fish. I mean, you could just you could do so much, you know.
I like the original. I think they could update it in a really cool way.
The original also reminds me of like how when I had kids and they started to learn about swear words, like how they would get them hilariously wrong. Foal. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I love the one that has the gradient inside.
Right. They just never quite got it.
Miss. Shoot and miss. Shoot and
Almost
miss.
like a fish playing football.
Oh, see, there you go.
Yeah.
They're embodying the idea. Well, those are pretty great.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. It's good to get back out there and realize just how much football there is in the world. I mean, like we've haven't done some of these deep dives of different countries in a while, and maybe once we get through the next Chicago history and other projects, maybe we should do it again because it's fun.
Yeah.
Not that League One is anything unusual, but some of these clubs I'd never heard of. As I was thinking back on it, the Imp. Hold on. Let's go back. Let's go back at the Imp. I think that this would be the perfect club for Wayne Rooney to come back into coaching for. And then he could just pose for the... I mean, that is Wayne Rooney, right?
Is it?
I know you don't like to make fun of people, but it's Wayne Rooney. I don't know why. You know, we're obviously miles apart because the lighting wherever you are is always so different from where I am. We just
I
happen
think
to
you
set
just
up
need
the
to
same.
cut another skylight.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. We have skylights in our studio, aka garage. So that's it. Next week, we're going to have a recap of the best kind of design and art focus aspects of the European season, which will include Champions League and Europa League, where a lot of the best TIFO action happened.
Yes.
But also we'll look into, that can also include anything visual related and fan related. We'll be revisiting that. So that will be fun to talk about next week.
And we'll be celebrating the Leeds promotion.
That's right. And we will be celebrating the hiring of Pep Guardiola to the Chicago Fire. He wants to truly accomplish the impossible.
I believe he could.
I think he could too. I think
Anybody really could.
there's a lot of people who could, but for some reason they're like, oh, Frank's been here so long and he's such a nice guy. Let's just keep. Like, I don't know if you noticed. So I was at the game last night with a neighbor who's not a soccer fan, and I was explaining, and he's like, well, can you explain kind of the tactics? And I explained what ideal tactics would be, and I
mean
had
scoring?
to say, but then I say, but the Fire to Frank Klopas, basically, they have Hugo Kuipers, and they send him up on his own, and they just try to lob the ball to him,
They just keep
isolated. And it's basically the same strategy you have in ASO or like it's
long
like,
ball.
Just give it to Kuipers. He'll figure it out.
And there's always like 2 guys on him.
Oh.
So, yeah.
And I think because they played midweek, because I think the team knew that Columbus would be a difficult game, and they really wanted to get points from the Charlotte game, which they did not. But Acosta and Shaqiri did not start this game. But what I'm amazed is when Shaqiri comes on, the crowd still goes crazy. And it makes me realize that most people there do not follow the team. They're just like, oh, I know Shaqiri. Because he's astronomically paid, like 45% of the whole team's salary range goes to him.
Yeah.
And he has not played well for the Fire. You could put it down to everyone says, well, he doesn't have any tools around him. Well, great players kind of elevate those around him. For whatever reason, it's not been great. But it's crazy how he came out. Everyone's still like, yeah, Shaqiri. And it's like, and he did exactly what he's done every other game. Nothing. After that. So.
There were a bunch of Fire personnel with like ID badges sitting like.
Were they on super tight suits?
Directly behind. There's one guy in a super tight suit, and I didn't really turn around and look. I just saw him come in, and I was like, oh, it's just people from corporate or whatever. I don't know who they were, but when Shaqiri came on, they were like, come on, Shaqiri, do something.
Do something.
Do something. And I was like, that just about sums it up. Also, like, they were totally like, there was one play or something. I forget when it was, but I was like, ooh, that touch. And then like the 3 of the guys behind me are like, ooh, that touch. And I was like, yeah, we got like
you could work
equal
for
commentary.
Yeah. You basically work for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's when you're a Fire fan, that's what you have to root for. Like those 2 or 3 nice touches during the game.
It was a bad touch.
It was a oof, that touch.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, go Leeds.
Go Leeds. We can do it.
Yeah. And coming up soon, beginning of June, is our last night's nemesis, but the league, I'm still a fan within interleague play. Mm-hmm. Columbus at the beginning of June will be playing in the CONCACAF Champions Cup final. That's something to look forward to.
Yes.
And the Open Cup continues.
Yes.
Detroit City Football Club.
Let's go.
Moves on. And they are not playing. I believe they're playing another Division II side in the next round. So they have a very good chance of moving on. So lots to look forward to. And then, of course, there will be many Noche d'Ors over the summer of all the European clubs touring the U.S.
We love to see
ad
it.
Infinitum.
Playing their B squads.
Yeah, it's going to be so...
Develop
like
those
going
players.
deep into the rosters to find anyone with an American connection to play at Lambeau Field. Well, we're so excited.
We love it.
Summer is the best time. All right, well, that is the story of the Imp and football.
The soccer kind.
Hit us with the outro, Maria.